Lust has killed love. It's killed it. We live in a generation, yeah, that's hyper, hyper sexualized, right? Everywhere you go, you're gonna see sex advertised, right? People from young as 13, 14, 15, 16 are basically taught that their value comes from how sexually attractive, right? How many people want to sleep with them. As young as 13, 14, young boys are conditioned to think the more women I sleep with, the better of a man I am, right? As young as 13 and 14 and 15 and 16, girls are conditioned to think how many men are want to sleep with me is where my value comes from. And we wonder why, as a generation, we don't have any healthy relationships. We wonder why, as a generation, we have people that are cheating, people that are promiscuous, yeah? We wonder why, as a generation, the guys are just not disciplined. We wonder why, as a generation, the girls are just moving mad. You get me? We wonder, as a generation, why we're so confused. But it all comes down to this. One of the most famous quotes, yeah, from like a book is this: the day that nakedness or people not wearing clothes becomes normalized in a society, society falls. Basically, the more hypersexual a society becomes, the more likely that that society is going to fall. That society is going to go down a very dark, dark path. I remember when I was 16, 17, I literally got so much of my value off of basically just the idea that I needed to get women, right? The idea that I needed to become this guy who slept with a bunch of women, had a bunch of beautiful women, had a roster, right? And I can't lie, man, it made me not value myself. I remember there was a time when I was still a virgin. I started my first TikTok page called Samurai. Now I've deleted that, it's all in the past. But I remember life, I didn't have any girls, I didn't have a roster. It was the summer right before I came to uni. And I just locked in and I grinded and I spent time with myself and I read books. And it was honestly one of the most happiest periods of my life. I think there was a certain innocence that I had at the time that I'm now realizing I've just completely lost. And even though things like the gym and things like, what I'm saying, reading books, you can always do them, there is something very precious about keeping your virginity, even as a man, that a lot of people don't talk about. There's something precious about that innocence, right? I remember I was having a conversation with one of my boys, and he said something that really hit me. And he said, men seek innocence in women because we're seeking what we once lost. You know the amount of times, yeah, like after you've been in a heartbreak, you've been around a girl and she just has this like innocent, like good aura, just this healing aura around her. And then you talk to her a little bit and you come to find out she's not done anything. And the thing is, some guys see that as a fetish, like, yes, I'm gonna be the first one to take it, I'm gonna be the da da da. But sometimes you kind of just sit back and you're like, damn, you know what I'm saying? In a world of just where everyone's just so hyper sexualized, it's really beautiful. It's beautiful to see somebody who's just okay. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the lie that I got told and the lie that I really bought into was that my value came from the amount of women I slept with instead of the type of man that I became. And I sacrificed a lot of my ambition early on. I sacrificed a lot of my good habits. I sacrificed a lot of really positive things I had going on for myself just in the pursuit of lust, in the pursuit of women, right? I started going to clubs. I remember over that summer, I told myself I would never go to a nightclub. But the second I touched uni, I was going to clubs consistently, right? I entered uni, I hadn't even had my first kiss yet. I had one talking stage, and it ended. And I felt this need that I had to become this guy who got a lot of women. I felt this need that, what I'm saying, I was a loser without it. I see all my friends, they're getting into relationships, right? They're, what I'm saying, having sex, right? And it felt like I was the only person who hadn't had sex yet. And it really started to mess with my self-esteem, bro. It really started to kind of irk me. There'd be nights where I'd be sat on my bed and I'm like, bro, why am I a virgin? Why can't I do this thing that every other guy can do? I didn't really understand my value at the time. But yeah, I started drinking. I started going to clubs. I started downloading dating apps because I wanted to get women, right? The only things that I did at that time outside of uni was literally purely lustful and purely to get women. That's purely what it was, right? I did make some good changes, right? I decided to work on my looks, right? I decided to dedicate myself to becoming more attractive. I got a skincare routine, you know what I'm saying? I grew out my hair. I gained a bit more confidence. But at the end of the day, the reasons why I was doing those things were purely negative. They weren't because I wanted to become a better man. It was because I wanted to fill this emptiness I had inside of my heart that I now realize can only be filled by God, but I was trying to fill it with women. And in that period, this is the first reason why lust is so dangerous, because in that period where I was lusting and I was just chasing after women, I was around women I didn't even like just because I wanted to fuck. I don't think you understand how, again, excuse my language, but I don't think you understand how crazy that is. I was talking to women I fundamentally disliked. I couldn't hold a conversation with just because I wanted to use their body as if they're some type of object. You know what I'm saying? As if they're just some type of thing that I just like put something in and then go and then leave, right? At the time, right? I, you know what I'm saying, found semen retention. I may as well have been watching porn. You know how insane that is, bro. I got to the point where I was literally linking girls that I did not like any type of way. Only reason I was even near them was because I knew that they were easy and I knew that I could eventually have sex with them. And I missed out on a lot of good quality women. You know, I'm not going to go into too much details, but during that period where I was talking to a lot of girls, right, I was juggling a lot of these girls, and you know, there were some good girls, man. There were some good girls that had genuine like love for me. Like they genuinely cared about me. They had good morals, they had good character. And I looked over them because at the time I was so obsessed with just having sex. I was so obsessed with having the baddest girl, having the prettiest girl, that I couldn't see right what was right in front of me. You know, I'm not telling you guys to not care about looks, but here's the thing, man. Looks are gonna fade. A person's character is ultimately the most important thing about them. And oftentimes, if a person has good character, they're going to do their best to put their best foot forward, and they are probably going to look pretty good, right? They're going to hit the gym. They're going to take care of their skin. They're going to eat healthy. They're going to have that natural glow about them. And I missed out on some really good women because of lust. I missed out on some really good women at the time. And I wasn't even aware that I was missing out because I was just focused on the women that could give me the quickest satisfaction. And this is one of the first reasons why lust has killed love. We're chasing the wrong things. Because of lust, I got into a really toxic relationship, right? I wasn't thinking about, is this person a good long-term partner? I wasn't thinking about whether this person is going to be a good mother to my children, whether we have the same values. You get me? All I was thinking about is how attractive she was, how nice her body was, and how she can please me sexually, and then cooking and cleaning. That's all I cared about. If she can cook, if she can clean, if she can please me sexually, that's it. That's it. And that's how so many guys and so many girls approach dating nowadays. Obviously, girls maybe not cooking and cleaning. Maybe for guys that might be money. But you get what I'm trying to say. That's how so many people approach dating now. Can this person satisfy my fleeting sexual needs? My sexual needs that literally last in one instant and then just like that is gone. And we put that at the forefront. And it causes situations where people have sex, right? Think about it, right? How do you know how most relationships start? Or when people are describing their relationships, they're like, man, you know, when I started this relationship, you know, the thing that really had it was the sex, man. We were just having tons and tons of sex, and then, you know, it slowed down. Then we started arguing. You want to know why that is? Because people have got it backwards. You are supposed to build a bond. You are supposed to form intimacy first on an emotional level without sex. But we put sex first because it allows us to skip so many steps, right? It allows us to skip steps that would have honestly prevented us from being in a relationship with these people that we've been with. But we skip all of that because we, you know what I'm saying, we're cool, right? We had sex with a girl, you know what I'm saying? We think it makes us cool as guys. But then we come to find out later, oh shit, I'm with somebody like I low-key like have nothing in common with. I'm with somebody that I don't even value that much. Lust has killed love. The only thing people think of when they think of intimacy is sex. That's it. I remember the first time I had a talking stage with somebody and I really understood what intimacy was. And I woke up the day and she ended up staying the night. We didn't do anything though. She was very like proper. She wanted to wait, take her time. I was like, okay, cool. So I get up, I woke up early because I had a Muay Thai session in the morning. I came back and then she saw me in the kitchen and she just hugged me. You know, she didn't grab my dick. She didn't try and have sex with me. She just gave me a hug. And in that moment I realized, man, this is actually what I want. This is what I want. You know, I know it might sound crazy, bro, but like that feeling of closeness, that feeling of just love is small things, right? There's so many times where I've been around people that just have such a genuinely good vibe and such a genuinely good aura, and I'm like, bro, like it's not even about sex. Like it's really not about sex. But the thing is, when you're consumed by lust, you will miss out on so many of these great moments just because the person can't offer you sex at that very instant. So yeah, I go into a toxic relationship because of that. You know what I'm saying? I go into some toxic stuff, bro. Like I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about in this toxic relationship, if I want to go just a little bit deeper, um sex was literally our God, right? Now obviously you have them Christian couples that say God is at the center of our relationship. Let me tell you something. Sex was at the center of our relationship. I remember one time she literally told me, she was like, I really want to give it a try. Like, even you don't even need to say that you're waiting until marriage fully. I just want to see if I could go a month without it. And I literally looked at her and I was like, you've done it before. I've done it before. You've done it a lot more than I've done it, right? I have to guilt trip her, make her feel extra guilty. Um, and yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. So much of that relationship was built upon sex, and it's like when I left that relationship, I realized it. You know what I'm saying? I really realized it. I mean, I don't want to get into too much details, but we literally had sex on the first day we met. And at the time, I was thinking, oh, I'm that guy, you know. I hit first night. I did my thing, duh, duh, duh. Yeah, I'm that guy, duh, duh, duh. But whole time, I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? We just used each other until we both got dependent on each other. And then we went into a relationship with the wrong values. See, the way a relationship is supposed to work is you are an individual, right? You're doing your thing. You meet this girl, she's doing her thing, and you guys bond, you guys talk, you guys get to know each other. It's slow. The Bible says love is patient, right? It's slow. You know what I'm saying? You talk on the phone, you get to know each other, you have deep conversations, you get to care for this person on such a deep emotional level, right? Everything is special, right? The second you guys hold hands, it's special. The time you guys have your first kiss, it's special. The time that, you know what I'm saying, you guys hug each other, it's special. You remember all the little dates, you remember all the little moments. And you really become and see your authentic true self. You see if you can even spend the rest of your life with them. See, when you remove lust, you start asking questions like, okay, cool. She has a nice body, she has a nice figure, but could she be the mother of my children? I was with somebody that every time they would bring up marriage, I would have a knot in my belly. And this is not any disrespect on her. This is a disrespect on me because lust had blinded me to the fact that I was with someone I shouldn't have been with. At the time, I pushed it off, but bruv, if you can't even see yourself marrying somebody, yeah, but you're okay to just continuously use their body as some type of vessel anyhow you please, doesn't that show you how lust is evil, how it can blind you, how it can make you stupid? You get me? So many people get into toxic relationships because they're blinded by lust. See, when you're moving as most people in this society move, and all they care about is lust and how their body looks, and oh, this girl's mad curvy and she's got nyash and she's got this and she's got that, you're going to get into a toxic relationship because the only thing you're going to be focused on is how they can satisfy you sexually. That's all you're going to care about. That's going to be your number one priority. You're not going to be thinking, does she have honesty? Does she have integrity? How does she carry herself? You're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to seek the person who can blow your mind in bed as your number one priority. And a lot of you man are going to say, nah, bro, I just do what I do. But when it's time to find a wife, I lock in. Listen, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you're out here having casual sex, you know what I'm saying, sleeping around, being promiscuous as a guy, and you really think that you're just going to be able to turn that switch off and then find a wife, you've lost the plot. You've actually lost the plot. Because number one, while you were basically devaluing yourself, you know what I'm saying, sharing your body with all these people, the woman that you really want, the woman that you really need, a guy has already probably wifed her. A guy has already seen, damn, you know what I'm saying, she ain't been about, you know what I'm saying, she's locked in on her own life, she has good morals, she has good principles, you get me, let me lock this down. Listen, I'm telling you, it's a trap. It's a big trap. Another thing that lust has done is it has turned people into commodities. Everyone is now become an option. Think about it like this, right? We live in a generation where everybody has a roster. Now, everyone can laugh at that. Haha, I got a roster. Let's take time and break down what a roster is. A roster is you physically turning human beings into this type of, into like a little game, right? Oh, I got this girl on my roster. She's petite and she's, you know, curvy. But I got this other girl on my roster. You know, she has a little bit more money. Or I got this girl on my roster. She's a redhead. But another girl on my roster, she's like Korean. If you take a step back and you just look at it from a pure, like, logical view, you're literally dehumanizing people. And a lot of you man are going to say, but bro, every girl nowadays has a roster. No, they don't. See, again, it's a trap. You only end up entertaining these horrible, and I do mean horrible people, because you don't have the self-reflection to look at you and maybe think, maybe the way I'm acting isn't right. Maybe I need to take some personal accountability for the way I'm carrying myself. Maybe by constantly sleeping around, the pool of women that I'll get exposed to are going to be trash and are going to be Jezebels, and obviously they're going to have a roster. It don't make any sense. See, one of the things that I didn't realize when I lost my virginity and when, you know what I'm saying, I had sex, was when I had sex, I purely did it for the thing of, oh, I just want to have sex. When I got into my relationship, I wasn't planning to get into a relationship. I didn't come there like, yo, I'm going to get into a relationship. No, I got into a relationship because she looked good. You know what I'm saying? She was cool. She wasn't a wife, but she was cool. We had good sex, and then she cooked and cleaned. Because I was thinking lustfully. I was just caught up in my lust. And another reason why lust is so terrible is because you literally give yourself to people, right? And when it eventually crashes and ends, right? Because lust always ends, right? The need for sex is so high until sex is done, and then you're finished. You know what I'm saying? The need to go crazy is so high. It's such a drug. It's all until you don't feel like it anymore. And when the sex dies down, and when you're forced to face the reality of your relationship that was not built on good principles, but was built on something as fleeting as 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of pleasure, you're left with the fact that you probably don't like this person. You probably don't even value this person the way they're supposed to be valued. They probably don't value you. The girl probably doesn't even value herself. And it just crashes and burns. And now a part of you has been bonded to somebody that you were never even supposed to be with because you were thinking lustfully and you were not thinking of the long term. And now when you do find your wife, Now, when you do find that person you can lock in and you can actually see yourself with for the rest of your life, you're always going to have that hurt. You know what I'm saying? God bless me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type who's going to post my relationships or say my relationships, but all I'm going to say is God put a really amazing woman in my life. God put, like, when I say amazing, I'm talking about for this generation, amazing. You know what I'm saying? Amazing. I'm talking about she's not done a single thing. You know what I'm saying? She kept to herself. She has that innocence, like I said, that guys seek for because we lost it ourselves. And it's like every time, sometimes I just be thinking like, if I didn't do this, you know what I'm saying? If I didn't waste time doing this, I feel like I would have had so much more love to give. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, that's a reason why lust is bad. Another reason why lust is bad is it destroys your ambition. It destroys your dreams, right? See, the devil is smart. There's a reason why men have the highest sex drives when they're in their early teenagers, 20s, 30s, and then it tapers off as you get older. Because the devil knows that you have a limited amount of strength as a man. So he's going to put all this sexual desire, all this needs for you to have sex, for you to watch porn, for you to do what you want to do, yeah? Right at the key stages of life where you need to lock in, you need to be on semen retention, and you need to, you know what I'm saying, if you are going to date, have like one woman and really just lock that down and be focused. The devil is going to use sex as a way to distract you from your purpose, bruv. Your purpose is going to suffer because you're going to have this need to have sex, bro. You become a slave to it. And the devil knows that you have potential, that you could make it in life, that you could become somebody. You know how much time I wasted because I was in a toxic relationship and the only reason why I decided to stay was literally because of sex? Bruv, I literally remember there was one time I went to a Bible study, right? I went to a Bible study. This guy, he pulls me into the room. He closes the door. And he's like, listen, bro, you know all these Christian facts, whatever, but are you like actually saved? Till this day, I feel like I'm still working on my relationship with God. But I'll tell you, what I said right there back then was horrible. Literally, I'll never forget, bro. He was like, what's the sin that's keeping you from God? I was like, I'm having sex with my girlfriend, man. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult. And he was like, you know you're leading her to hell, right? And I said, yeah, I know I'm leading her to hell. And he said, so you can't stop having sex with someone you claim you love and you know you're going to lead them to hell? You can't stop that? And I said, no, I couldn't. And he said, in that moment, he said, you don't love this woman. He said, you don't love this woman. And I was fighting it for so long. I was like, man, what do you mean I don't love this woman? You don't know me. You don't know me. And months go by, right? I'm with the same girl. I've said this story a billion times, but for those who are new, I'll say it again. We get into an argument one day, right? A big argument because I felt like she'd begin to lose respect for me, right? I'm a very traditional guy in certain aspects, right? I don't like it when my girl goes clubbing, you know what I'm saying? And I don't like it when my girl has male friends. Those are the two things that I just don't tolerate. Anything else we can have a conversation with, but if you have a really close guy best friend and you're the type of girl to go clubbing, it's hard. We're not going to work out. By the time I was blinded by lust, and she was already kind of breaking boundaries with this one guy. And so anyway, we get into an argument and I kick her out the house. I kick her out. She came to me crying that day, but I said, you know what? No, recently you've been getting on my nerves. Go to your friends. Because on the things that really matter, you don't want to respect me, but cool. You want to come to me when you're upset? Go to your friend's house, right? Because your friend was so important that you allowed her and me to get into an argument that was pointless, right? You basically chose her over me when I told you you're not going clubbing that day. I don't care what the event is. If I can't come, that's ridiculous. But cool. You wanna be with your friend? Go with your friend. And she ended up cheating on me. She ended up sleeping with a guy that she told me not to worry about, funny enough. But I'm not trying to make you guys feel bad for me or make you guys feel any type of way for me or anything like that. It's more just like I'm really trying to drum down the point that lust will kill you, you know? Here I was with a woman that I didn't inherently value. I was with a woman that, you know, we were with each other for sex, but because of the sex, we built a trauma bond. And sex is a powerful thing, man. And the Bible says that love never fails. But obviously in that situation, at the time I was thinking, damn, all this work, all the arguments, all the not getting back together, but, you know, making up the arguments, all the memories, all the money spent, everything. You know, I isolated myself like crazy, everything, to end for 5 minutes of lust. Makes you think, man. Makes you think. Obviously, you know, she came back to me crying the next day, told me she didn't cheat because it was a break, told me a bunch of things. And I'm not going to get into it because this isn't a video for that, but yeah. Everything ended just like that because of lust. Everything. I'm telling you, man, lust kills relationships. It kills it. It fully kills it. Another thing that makes lust just so horrible is that we've turned marriage and real commitment, like serious long-term relationships, into a chore, you know? We've turned it into, oh, you know, I'm gonna settle down. Eventually I'm gonna settle down. But here's the thing, man. I'm so excited to be a husband. Despite what happened to me, I'm so excited to be a husband. You know, I wake up every day. I'm like, I can't wait for the day I get married. I can't wait for the day, you know what I mean? I have a little mini me running around. I have my wife. You get me in the kitchen whipping up some jollof. You get me, hey baby, how was your day? I can't wait for that day. People talk about, oh, you need to settle down. That just shows you how brainwashed our society is. We basically get to spend all our youth blinded by lust, blinded by, you know what I'm saying, chasing the next female that has the bigger nyash or the better tits or the prettier face or the curvier hips. We spend all our time chasing that, but when we eventually want to have a family, find a wife and have kids, oh, that's the chore. That's where we got to settle down. Even think about the language around it, right? On men and women. You know what I'm saying? Women are like, oh yeah, hi, you getting married? Guys are like, oh bro, this is where you lose your freedom, man. This is where your balls get cut off. We have fully made it so that marriage and kids take a less priority